All right, all right. We are back in Belmont, New Jersey, and we have a very special guest on. We have a guy who works in Wall Township. We have Nick Marra from New York Life. Good morning. How are you today?
Morning. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in. So you've been here before for when they did the networking meetings here at Wingman, but you've never, other than that, you were just here a few times.
Yeah, just a couple times. I'm excited to get the full scope of everything now.
Excellent. So now you're on the podcast. You're on Grit Won't Quit, and we're going to talk about the hustle and bustle, the trials and tribulations, the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups and the downs, and everything else in between of running your own business.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is you have a corporate umbrella behind you of running your own business within a place where, different than some of the entrepreneurs that have been on this show, where they're starting out. They're all of a sudden now they do this and they're running and gunning.
Right.
The beautiful thing in your world is at least you have somebody behind you to kind of produce the work, give you the product set to use, somebody that's tested out the product set, people that have been successful in your business, but it's still a new business in the sense that you have to go out and get all the leads, meet the people, go do those seminars, do everything else, right?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation, right? Like you said, I have the company behind me, which is great. People, when you start off in anything, people don't know what you're doing. Like your family maybe will work with you a little bit because they want to throw you a bone, but otherwise it's like, who are you? Yeah, what are you doing? How do I know I can trust you? So it's nice having that support behind you and next to you, and really you just kind of trying to get people to know you and like you at first, and then figuring it out as you go. Whereas other people don't really always have that kind of luxury.
Yeah, I think that is a benefit. I don't know if you know this or if you don't, but I'll tell you.
Sure.
Wingman's in the process of franchising its business, and we're talking to franchisees and people that are interested in becoming part of Wingman.
Sure.
And I think that's the easy for them. I remember when I started 16 years ago, and I was the one who was going out and meeting people, going out and talking to people, making the introductions, doing the networking, making the sale, coming back and making the work, and then billing the work, calling the customer back, being customer service when something didn't go right, and that's a hard job. You're doing, you're wearing 8 hats.
Right
now, at least and that's what I tell these people that want to franchise Wingman. You don't have to worry about doing the design work, doing the development work, doing the print work. Someone's going to do that for you. You're just going to go out and make relationships. You're going to be you're going to be the mayor of the town.
Right.
You're going to be,
instead of the 8 hats, you're wearing 3 or 4.
You're wearing 3 or 4, which still is hard.
Still tough, but
and again, I think that's how the New York Life model works also. You guys at least have, you're not picking the insurances or the retirement plannings to put the people into. You're just picking you're just finding the customers of who they are and what they need.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the company's been around 180 years. They lived through the Great Depression.
They've been through a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. So my wife always thinks it's funny. She's always like, so Abraham Lincoln could have been an agent at New York Life. That's crazy.
Maybe he was.
Yeah,
we don't even know.
Who knows, right? So yeah, I totally agree. it's still tough, but you have something that works.
It's a model. That's at least a model.
So
you could look at other reps, and I don't know how many reps are at New York Life, but there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of offices. But you could look at somebody's history and say, all right, this guy did it. But it's not just 1 or 2 people's history. You could look at across the board and say, X amount of people have done this. Again, someone could come to me and say, well, Tom, you've done it, but we haven't seen the success across. In New York Life, you have seen that success.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if all things are equal, this will work.
Yeah, some of the most successful, richest people in the world have started as an agent in New York Life. It's if you just do what they're telling you to do, you're at a minimum you're going to be okay.
And they have the right training in place, and they have the right procedures.
Right.
So if nothing else, you're going to learn a great discipline.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of it then is just you kind of betting on yourself and allowing yourself. My partner at work always says, become dangerous, right? So everyone can be good at what they do, and that's great, but if you then put in the work on top of what New York Life is giving you as your support, then that's when you get really dangerous and can really set yourself apart.
I love this. Let's dive into this a little
absolutely.
bit more. All right, so you're in your early 30s, and you decide, I'm going to go to New York Life.
Yeah.
What made that happen? Again, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I would think more guys in their 20s go to New York Life.
Yeah, 100%. So it was a crazy, just random thing that happened. I'd never thought I was going to be in finance. I never thought I was going to work in insurance. I never thought I was going to help people with their 401ks in retirement. Like, that was not
those
me.
are words that are like glazing.
Yeah,
your eyes are glazing when you first
you know,
say it.
I was in high school, like, not caring about anything.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I didn't, math class didn't matter to me.
Yep.
So yeah, it is a lot of kids, like, right out of college is their first job. Like, I went to school for finance or business, and now I'm doing this. So it's definitely a different trajectory, I guess, than most people in my career. I worked in, like, construction most of my life. I worked at my family's deli. And
Italian deli?
Yeah, like Italian American Driftwood in Tom's River. Go
Shout
give it a
out to
shot.
the Driftwood in Tom's River. I have heard, I've never been there myself, but I have heard from people that live over on that side that they make great sandwiches.
Very
so
good. They
check
are.
it out if you're in the area.
You know, so that's what I did. I never thought I would do this, but every job I was at, I always just wanted to help people. I know that maybe sounds like corny or cliche to say, but that was like
I just wanted
to help people. I liked when I went to school. To be a teacher. Like, I wanted to teach people, help people. And then this kind of just came across my lap. A friend of a friend told me they were looking to hire. So I went, I interviewed, I learned about it because I didn't know anything about this. Like, I mean, who does, right? And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I could try to make money, but also, like, help people learn about things that are super important, like, very important, that people don't really know about or understand. And, like, every day I can do that. I can help people, you know, bury a loved one. I can help them set their kids up for college or the rest of their lives. I can help them retire. Like, those are things that are super important, especially in today's economy, that I never even thought I would be able to help people with. So
That's got to be a good feeling.
It's a really great feeling. Don't get me wrong, there's some downsides to the job. Like, when someone does die and I have to show up with that check, it's not great. But then it's like, hey, at least their family is set for life, probably, you know? Like,
and listen, if it's not you, someone else has to bring that check.
Someone else has to, right.
I mean, and again, if you have that caring way about you and you have that demeanor, I mean, that probably makes it a little bit easier on the family.
I mean,
than somebody that's like, here's your check.
Right,
next.
yeah, see you later.
Like, so, I mean, in that regard, it's probably better to have somebody that's more compassionate and more has more empathy for the situation.
Yeah, I thank you. I hope so. Like I said, like, a lot of people don't understand that you can do some of these things with something like life insurance or financial planning. Like, knowing that my kids are set for college or whatever they decide to do with their career now because of what I do is a great feeling. You know, I didn't start out like that. I have so many friends who their kids, I know I'm like a big reason why they'll be able to pay for college or go to a trade school or start their own business. That's a really cool feeling.
That is a really great feeling. Now, like, you're 3 years ago, you get in the ropes.
Yeah.
You don't have these clients yet. No. You don't know, like, you barely kind of know what you're doing. Probably you learn as you go. Now you had to get some licenses under your belt, right?
Yeah. So I've taken 6 licenses now.
Wow.
So even just to start off, like,
it's like 2 a year.
Yeah, literally, like, just get foot in the door. You need 2 licenses.
Those are the insurance ones.
Yeah. So that's life and health, and then from there, it's like, depending on what you want to do at this career, you can stick with that and just be like, hey, this is all I'm doing, which is fine. Or you could be like, I want to kind of dive deeper into people's finances and their portfolios and, you know, things like that.
And then get into, like, the retirement, the 401ks and the IRAs,
right?
And all that
which is like
good stuff.
Yeah, it's different but similar, I guess I would say. So, you know, there's a lot of licenses for that. And, you know, it's not easy, but I don't think you want it to be easy, right? Like, if someone's dealing with your money,
it's gonna be easy. It's gonna, especially you have a fiduciary relationship to these people to know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
And in a world of unscrupulous people, like, you know,
you don't want to be like, I have to blindly give my trust and my money to this person.
Yeah.
And they just, you know, took a class on Google or something, right?
Yeah. So now you get licensed. Now, during the licensing stage, are you talking to people yet, or are you just at this point just learning and educating?
So you talk to at least, like, the people that you're close with, right? Like, my first clients outside of myself and my wife or my parents, right? So, like, it's kind of like that situation.
They were like, oh, I got to
yeah,
I got to
help them out.
Damn.
Exactly. So you're, like, kind of learning and
hopefully you bought a sandwich that day.
I did, yeah. Well, she didn't let me pay, but I try. Yeah, so it's like a learning as you go, kind of like trial by fire almost, which I like that personally.
Now, do they bring like a senior broker with you?
Yeah, you start
advisor?
off, like, you're not by yourself.
That's
at least
good.
The good partners at the company, you start off with someone who's like listen, you just get me in the room, sit there and be quiet, and I'll do the rest of it.
And take notes and figure this out
exactly.
for the second or third time.
And honestly, like my partner at work, James, he's still 3 years in. He's still helping me. Like because there's so much that you do. He always says like it's like a roller coaster, right? Like you get in, you don't know what you're doing. You need him a lot. Then you start to learn what you're doing, and you don't need him as much, right? And then you get another license. You're like, shit, now what do I do, right?
Or some wacky situation comes your way.
Right, something crazy, right? Because that's going to happen in life, right? So it's just kind of like always knowing that there's someone there, whether it's your partner or someone else at the company and just the company in general behind you is a great feeling, like you said, because some entrepreneurs don't have that. It's just that they have to figure it out on their own every time something crazy happens. And
I remember the first time we did a print job, we had a spelling error.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I gave the guy the pamphlet before we printed it. So why is this on me?
Right.
But on the other side is, I also know that if I don't reprint this, he's never going to use me again, ever, ever, regardless of whose error it was.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
you just learned your first lesson. I learned my first lesson
right
then and there how this game's going to work. But again, when you by yourself, you're like, just have it. Meanwhile, at New York Life, that guy would have told you. You're doing this again. You're going to this. You're going to put this together again, and we're not even going to have a discussion about it. Me in my head, I'm like, you're fighting the urge of, well, it wasn't really my fault.
Right.
But on the other side is, New York Life's telling you, this is how we're going to do it.
It's like I don't know if you've seen that. I always see people talking about like if like Amazon messes up an order, you're fine. Like, oh, it's annoying, but I'd buy it again, whatever.
Yeah.
But if like a small shop messes up your order, you're like, oh, I'm never going there again.
It's
like it's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
Where I feel like it should be the other way around.
It should be the other way around. And like when you think about it, it's like, of course, like it's insane like that. People think like that. They'll give Amazon, they'll give a fast food restaurant 1,000 chances. Meanwhile, the deli misses tomatoes on the sandwich.
Right.
It's the
How
end of the world.
They're the worst in the world. Yeah.
And then you get the 1-star review like.
Yep.
They don't pay attention to the detail. They didn't put the tomatoes.
Yeah.
All right, they missed the tomatoes.
Like, I'm not a robot. I'm
come
sorry.
Come back and come get a tomato. We'll give it to you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Worst restaurant ever.
And it happens all the time, and it's not a great thing, and I wish that we could work on that as a society, I guess.
Everybody's a keyboard warrior. When something doesn't go their way, they're just going to go right to Google. But in a way, we've trained people to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, in a way, it's not worth the 1-star review because you forgot the tomatoes. Give them credit for the next order. Just because to appease them so that the review comes down.
Exactly. And again, it's like it's not that you can always make mistakes. That's different, right?
No.
Then you're just not good, right? Exactly. But if it's every now and then like we have to, I feel like, give each other a little bit of leeway, maybe.
But what's funny is like I'm a big fan of local. If you know anything about me, if you listen to my podcast, if you watch me on social, I am all about local. I use big companies and out of town businesses as little as I can, and I use the people that we're neighbors with, because the people that I see, the people I know, and like we're the guys like us are the people that are supporting the baseball teams and the cheerleading things,
100%.
And like all those kind of things, like the big companies, the one starts with an A that does a lot of deliveries everywhere. They're not sponsoring anything, so but yet. People are like, well, I saved 2 cents. And let's go there. Like it's convenient. And again, I get the convenience. It's just hard. But like when you think about like even the reviews and like how people treat these small local businesses, like if they really knew what it was like to run a small local business, I think they'd have a different appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
For it. The delis, the restaurants.
Right.
It's so hard to run those.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy, and you're putting yourself into it, right? And I even find that like with what I do, like, so again, I have New York Life behind me, but I'm what I do, right?
Yeah,
I have to do the prospecting.
The guy.
I pay for any sponsoring I do and support and things like that, right? Like I'm the one running the meetings and figuring out what you need and why you need and what you don't need. And sometimes we're maybe not the cheapest option, right? Which can happen, right? And I'm sure that happens to you sometimes too. But I find then people will automatically then forget everything else that we've done.
That we've talked about up until now.
All of that doesn't matter anymore because I'm maybe $3 more expensive a month or something, right? And that's, again, going back to like the reviews and just in general, I wish people would be like, well, but I've spent 30 hours with this person, figuring out exactly what I need, and he's spent his time figuring out my life and my needs and everything about me and my kids and all that. And whereas you can go to like an online company that is just like, hey, fill out this thing and we'll guarantee you life insurance, and it's $2 less, and you're never going to talk to somebody. It's a robot you have to talk to for the rest of your life, and who knows if they'll even be around 20 years from now when you die, right?
It's interesting you say that, and I have many thoughts on this. We as small business owners try to please everybody.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, there are some people that like to drive a Mercedes-Benz. Mm-hmm. And there's other people that don't want to drive, can't drive a Mercedes-Benz, don't want to drive a Mercedes-Benz, don't see the value in it.
Right.
You have to find the customers that are your value. Like, again, you look at a deli and a steakhouse. Both can fill your belly at the end of the day if you have dinner there, right? But much different cost, much different atmosphere, much different everything.
Yeah.
So I think, in my world too, like, I want to try to help everybody, but there's some people that just aren't the right customers.
Right.
Because, again, to your point, you'll put in 30 hours, you'll show them this, you'll show them that. They love everything you're saying. You're sitting there, they're saying yes, and then your price comes in a couple bucks higher.
Right.
And you're like, well, don't you see the value? Again, I'm not trying to be Walmart here.
Right. Right.
I'm not trying to be not that I don't want to be not that I'm trying to be the lowest price, but again, you have overhead, you have different things to run your business. You want to advance your technology, so you need to invest money. Like, where does all that come from?
Right.
If you're always at the very bottom of the very tier.
Like, you're not that. That is not a way for you to survive as a business, right? Like,
no, you can't. And again, you can't, because it's never going to get you to advance to that next step. If you want to hire a team, how do you hire a team?
Right.
You need to bring these guys on. How are you going to pay them? Most people don't come to work to be interns.
Right.
When they're 35 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, so like those, I don't know if people just. I feel like it's a zero-sum game with some people. Like they're just out for the lowest price that they can get. Because we've trained them that. We've trained them to use Amazon. We've trained them to use Walmart. We've trained them not to go to the local store. Like, to do it on, DoorDash because they don't want to get out of their car. Like, there's just so many things that we've trained people to do this on, that when it comes to professionals, and again, professionals like yourself and me, I always say to people, they say, oh, this guy's going to give me a 5-year warranty. And I know the guy, and I'm like, he's not going to be in business in 5 years.
Right.
So how good is the warranty if the guy's not there? How are you going to validate? How are you going to how are you going to claim your warranty if the company's not in business?
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, because it's something that I do deal with a lot. Because again, there's, especially now, so many of these like online companies that you can get life insurance or financial planning through, and it's like, that's good if that's what you want. Like you said, everyone sees value different ways, right? But I promise you, if you call that company, they're not going to respond right away like I will. They're not going to help you how I do.
And give you
they
their
might
cell
not
phone number.
No, it's going to be a 1-800 number where
9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Click the IVR and stay on hold for 10 minutes.
Who knows if they're going to be here in 5 years? Which, in what I do, is very important, because you're betting on not only me but my company that if you die, we will pay your family what you're being told that they're getting. And if that company's not around anymore, then not only did you just lose all your money, but now your family has to start a GoFundMe, and you have to hope that your neighbors can help out.
And it's not the neighbor's responsibility either.
No, not at all.
I feel bad. I'm going to say for you, I feel bad with AI.
Yeah.
Because people are going to be like, oh, I saw something the other day. Oh, we don't need lawyers anymore. You can just go right into AI. Okay, you do that.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to still call my attorney.
100%.
Like, in your world too, they're going to be like, well, I don't, and then they'll validate in their own heads by, oh, I don't have a lot of money. I have a small policy.
Sure.
I have this. So they'll validate why they're going to the AI. And then when it comes out wrong, they're going to be like, well, I didn't know anything.
Right.
I didn't know about it. So I just.
And I say this a lot with what I do, because again, it's life insurance and then also financial planning. But like when it comes to life insurance, I always think if you're one of these customers, and this is me as well, if I'm like, oh, I can't spend $10 a month, you're the person that needs it more. Like I have customers who are millionaires, and sometimes they don't need it nearly as much as someone who thinks that they can't spend $10 a month on a policy, because if you die, then if you couldn't even afford $10 a month for this, then what's your family doing, right?
2 less Starbucks a month.
Yeah, honestly, I think for me, it's always something's better than nothing, no matter what.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more.
So.
I mean, and I think that as you continue to grow, you're gonna have these obstacles, and I think that sometimes too, like it's a lack of education, especially in your world,
definitely.
because people don't realize. And again, I think that schooling should help educate people, but that's not going to happen, and that's a different debate for a different day. For I don't have 3 hours today to discuss that one. But I mean, I think in your world, the more that you can get people in a room and just educate, especially since you like to help people, like that's the way to grow this business. It's not it's not about putting a billboard on Route 34 in Wall Township, although cool to see your face on a billboard.
Sure.
I think you need to be at these round tables just talking to people about if it's just $10 a day, if it's this, as you start to generate and earn more money, putting it away. I mean, I know when I first started, when I graduated 20 something years ago, whatever, and I was making a very base salary, I learned how to live on that, and then I got a raise, and I took some of the raise and I put it into my 401k, and I took some of the raise and I said I should live a little bit better, and I got another raise and I lived a little bit better, and I put a little more into the 401k, and then before long I went out on my own, and then throw everything up in the air and kind of just but again, even when we first started, I worked from home, and then when I felt like we were at a point where we should get an office, we got an office, and then when we grew a little more, then I said let's get another person. So everybody's got to think like that. And what I hate to see is people like, oh, I don't have to worry about it now, and then when they're in their 60s, and like you look at them and they look worn out and they're tired, and and they're like, I don't have what I need to retire. That's where it gets like scary. And I hate to see like even some of the seniors in Ocean County, like they live a very hard life.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said educate, right? Like I think that's kind of like the theme of what we're talking about. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to do this job, because again, we don't learn this stuff, and like my parents didn't really learn any of that, and it would be probably shocking to most people how many people in their 60s or like late 50s that come in and have meetings with me that think that they can retire and they can't. Or
that's got to be like a disappointing day. Like
it's horrible because people again aren't educated on this stuff. People don't know what they need to do or what they have is even doing. I talk to people all the time and they're like, oh, well, I have my 401k, so I'm good. And it's like, do you know what your actual 401k is doing for you? Because most people don't, and they don't realize it's going to be taxed, or they think that Social Security will cover them, but they don't understand that, my grandparents maybe had they lived in the era of pensions, and it was like you work for 40, 50 years, you get a pension, you're good. That's not the way anymore, and there's a lot that is involved in you getting to the point where you can stop working and live comfortably, because you have to save a certain amount of money, but then you also have to realize that modern medicine is way better than it was a long time ago, and now
you're living longer.
So many people outlive their retirement earning savings, so I just constantly...
That's where those reverse mortgages come in.
Yeah. I'm just constantly trying to help people understand that it's something that you should start as soon as you can. Yeah, yesterday is when you should be starting this, and it's a constant conversation that we're going to have.
Yeah, and it's gonna and as time goes on, and as earnings change, as families change, you go from a single to married. You go from married to one child. You go married, 2 children. Yeah. You go, I want to work till this age. There's so many things. And again, you shouldn't. I think you shouldn't cut your spending in the now, because you never know when the now's over.
Sure,
but you got to also think there's a balance. It's not just let's YOLO, and it's not just save every penny, don't spend a dime, don't do anything fun until retirement, because you don't know what that equals either.
Yeah.
But if you work into that balance and you educate and you say to people, all right, work a little budget, and it doesn't have to be a budget where you're typing down that you bought a $2.93 bagel next door, but keep in broad strokes so that people can say, all right, I'm going to put $100 away, I'm going to put $200 away.
Right.
And, again, you look at those charts over time, if you put, $100 a day, $100 a week away every year, what that equals in 30 years, just with compounded interest.
Right, exactly.
But I don't think if we did a survey, if you ask people what compounded interest is, you're going to get, I don't think you're going to get more than 30% of the population that would even know that.
Yeah, and again, it's not their fault, because we're not taught this.
And it's not fun. It's not like, oh, let me go get a calculator out. Let me set up a spreadsheet on a Friday night. And, and do this. It's not fun. I get it. And again, when you're out with your friends, you want to be talking about, oh yeah, the bond market did this week. So on the other side is it's but as you grow up and as you go from the days of DJs and Bar A down the road
Right.
to adulthood, you got to start.
You got to start thinking
some of
about
these
it.
things.
Exactly.
And you kind of have to think about it. But and again, sometimes in the news, especially the news these days, it's
Right.
like it's just controversial. But if you just look at like the Dow Jones over time or
Right.
the NASDAQ over time and see, well, it was this then, it was this now. If I put the $100 a week in, this
Right.
is what it would be. I think, and you guys run those calculators and
Yeah,
simulators
all the time. And I think people, like you said, the biggest part is just like talking and just have a conversation
And
with me.
sometimes people don't feel comfortable talking about money.
Oh, never. And I get that fully. You know,
Yeah.
I
It's a
was the same
private-
way. It's a
more of
private thing.
Like,
Yeah.
I think a conversation of education's good, but then when it gets to it goes one-on-one when you start
Right.
talking about money.
Right, 100%. And it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have. Like, that's always usually the case.
Except the blowhards that tell you how much money they have, and
Yeah.
then it's time to put up $10, and they're
Yeah,
like,
and yeah.
I got to give you a card.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Run it Tuesday.
yeah, and I think you're right. Like, if people just understood the basics, even it would set them up so much more than they realize. Like, whether it's investing in the stock market or a whole life policy that will grow guaranteed forever, tax-free, compound dividends, things like that. Like, whatever it is, if you're just doing it, something is always better than nothing. And if you're doing it the correct way, you're going to be okay, right? And again, for me, like budget, I never really talk budget. I try not to, at least. I have people who their budget's $20 a month. I have people who their budget's $20,000 a month, right? For me, it's always like, let's see what you need and what makes sense for you first, and then we'll see what your budget is, and we'll probably still go below that anyway,
Yeah.
because, like you said, you still should live your life also.
Yeah, you need to. Otherwise, it's no fun. I mean,
Yeah.
God, I would be miserable.
Yeah.
I I'm not a budget liver. I talk about the budget, but I like.
All right, we'll work on that.
You know what I do? I budget for work. Like,
Yeah.
For work, I'm a very good budgeter.
Good, yeah.
Like I know my numbers to the T. But like when it comes to like the weekend, and I say to my wife, "Oh,
Yeah.
let's go here. Let's go
Yeah,
do this."
yeah.
Because again, I work so freaking hard during the week.
Right, you
I want
deserve to
enjoy.
enjoy
I want to
it.
enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
So like. Again, I don't, but also I made some investments early on, and
Right.
I took risks, and I was dangerous in my 20s.
Uh-huh.
Like
Right, 'cause you
I
gotta
bought
be.
real estate. I was a single guy, and I quit my job. And I remember my wife saying to me, she goes, I wasn't married to my wife when I quit my job, and then she goes, Tom, what's the worst thing that can happen? You have to go get another one.
Right.
You start your own business and it doesn't work. That was the worst case scenario. I have to go get another job.
Right.
But on the upside is I have this.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
it worked out.
Yeah.
Like, and again, and people also need someone in their corner. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
times where someone doesn't have that just motivation. Like, again, would I have done it? I probably would have, because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But like, my wife validated it at the time.
Right.
She's like, Tom, just do it. Like,
Yeah.
So at the same time, like I think that's something like the education, and then having someone that believes in you.
Yeah.
I think is like a game changer.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
people.
I have a good amount of clients who are self-employed.
Yeah.
My wife is self-employed, so I know a lot.
What does she do?
She's a hairdresser.
Oh, awesome.
So she has, her own studio, and so it's something that I know.
Give her a shout out.
Amanda Rose Paints Head on Instagram. She is way more talented and better than I am.
She do
so-
your hair?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you like this. So it's something that I have a lot of personal experience with, and people that own their own business, as you know, you don't have like a 401k or a pension, right? So you need someone in your corner that, one, is supporting you and saying like, you can do this, let's
Yep.
go, but also is kind of behind you, like making sure that you're going to be okay as well, right?
Yeah, you need a wingman.
You need a wingman for sure.
But it's definitely, and again, I think that different people do different things. Like, again, the self-employed, they live a different world because
Yeah.
they got to bet every day, and you got to
Yeah.
put money out. Like, you always have to reinvest in yourself. Like
Yeah.
you said, you got to do sponsorships. You got to get people to this table. You got to do all those things. That costs you money. So
Yeah.
you earned X amount of dollars. Like if you were a W-2 employee, you earn X amount of dollars, but we don't get to keep that whole thing,
Right.
because now we have to go invest so that next month we have all those people at the table again,
Right.
plus more, and then we're going to hire somebody. Oh, well, we got to take that money and now pay them. So like we're in a constant investments phase in our life, and I'm sure your wife is in the same boat.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
she always is getting new customers, and again, she's acquiring customers and she has recurring customers, but you always want to grow.
Right.
Whereas sometimes with a W-2, it's more of, well, this is my salary. I'm going to get my annual percentage raises every year, and so everyone's got to look at it from their scope of
their scope, right? There is no like cookie cutter, especially when it comes to finance and just in general life.
You have to
right?
find someone you like and someone that you believe in and someone that you trust, because
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If I could find a guy who's cheaper, but if I don't trust him and I don't like his recommendation and I don't want to get on the phone with him and talk to him,
Right.
that's going to stink over time.
100%.
Like, again, the first couple times you're like, Nick, this is what I need. But after that, like, you got to have a relationship. Because, and again, it's this, I always say with people with the web, with marketing, if you don't think that I'm the right guy for the job, or we don't get along, or you don't think that you got to find someone that you like. Because especially in the world we live in my world, I'm helping them grow their business. In your world, you're helping them save their money and plan for retirement. They have to like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have to be a good relationship. Otherwise it's going to be terrible. And
I say it all the time, like to my clients, I hope that you like me, because the goal is that I'm with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you don't want to change. Your kind of world, you don't want to change.
No, like, because even like, so I had like homeowners insurance, right? And we had to change it, and I put off making the phone call forever. I didn't want to do it because you just don't want to do that
annoying
stuff. Yeah,
and it's a pain. Then they have we need the routing and we
right,
need this.
Exactly.
The first invoice didn't go off right. It's always a problem. So.
Right. So I get it. For sure.
I get it too. So that's great. So this has been a great conversation. I'm so glad that you came on. I'm so glad that you reached out to do this. And I think you got a great thing going on.
Thank
Keep
you.
up
I appreciate
the great
it a
work. I think that, again, I know 2 New York Life agents. I know you and I know Chris. Oh, I know 3. I know Brian too.
Okay. Yeah.
All guys that are great guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you and Brian have the same haircut.
Yeah.
Chris isn't there yet, but keep doing great things and keep helping the community. Keep helping people do to help them their retirement. And I think it's really great that seeing honest people doing honest things.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. It means a lot to me, and I appreciate you having me on.
So as we wrap it up, let people know where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so on Instagram, Nick Marra, NYL. You can give me a call too. My phone number is 732-850-8073. I'd love to just talk. Like I said, it's all about education. There's nothing that has to be set in stone or permanent. Just if you have questions, let me know. I'll answer them.
And if you want a good sandwich,
or
you want a good haircut, we know how to get that too. So
we got people for everything.
Nick, thanks for coming on today. This was great, and I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.